Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Mindscape TV. My name is Jeff Bell. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing Services here at Mindscape, and with me I have Kate Wiltzer. She is our content strategist, and we're talking today about how to develop content for your site. A lot of times partners will come to us and just have no idea how to get that content created or what content is really when we say, well, you need to, we need your content. And then a lot of people look at us with a blank stare and don't really know what we're talking about. So Kate, just kind of quickly, can you say what content is or kind of encompasses really? Because I know there's content for the site that we're working on maybe, and then there's also off-site content, which we won't deal with today, but as far as it comes to with content on the site, kind of what does that entail? Is it writing?
Content it comes in various forms. Pretty much content is anything that communicates about your business, so which can be so broad, and that's what's scary, I think, to a lot of partners. But content really comes in the form of web pages, blog posts, infographics. It can be even as simple as posting a picture, a photo. So it's so broad, but we are there to help them really narrow down what's important to their users.
So content is really anything that tells a story.
Yes.
About whatever you're trying to say. On a page, it might be that particular service or product or history of the company. And on a blog post, it might be a specific theme, but whatever tells the story, whether that's visually or through video or audio or picture, written word, right. Whatever you have.
All of that. It's everything that helps tell their story and that communicates the brand to their audience.
Great. Okay, so that's kind of what content is, basically anything that tells the story. So then how do we go about, what's kind of the first step as we're approaching this? And for those of the viewers out there who don't necessarily come to us to do their content work, if they're doing it on their own, it can be a daunting task. So we want to help those folks. But what's kind of the first step? Like when I see, oh my gosh, I have to develop my content, what do I do now?
We first want to look at what the goals and objectives of our partners are, and then we want to start to align those goals and objectives across all of their channels. We start with looking at the competitors.
So from a goals and objectives, I didn't mean to cut you off, but from a goals and objectives, we're also looking at kind of what you want to do as a company, but then also who you're trying to reach, right, from an audience standpoint, because those are both important aspects of understanding how to position that content as well as what the kind of message is for the content, right?
Right. So we want to look at their goals and objectives. We want to understand who they're trying to reach, who their audience is, and then we want to define, what those users' problems are. So any content that we put across the channels is always answering those problems that the user's needing. So it's addressing all of that information for them.
Sure. So it's almost like putting the hat on of who you're trying to reach. You're trying to reach, CMOs, you're trying to reach, physicians, you're trying to reach people who ride motorcycles. You kind of have to put the hat on of those people and think, okay, what questions do they have? How can I answer those questions, right?
Right.
So we want to know kind of step one, goals and objectives. Step two, figuring out who your target audience is. And then step three, kind of putting yourself into those persona shoes and answering questions or asking questions that those people may have.
Right.
And that you may be able to answer.
So we're starting to go into the product life cycle or how the customer's buying cycle is, and really understanding how and when they want content at those different stages that they need that content.
Sure, sure. And then beyond that, that's kind of, those are really the steps to figuring out what to write about, right? So if you want to have a good mix of that as well as kind of your push messaging, which is who we are, how long we've been in business, here's what we can do for you. But again, you want that to be structured in a voice, in a tone, and in a way that is approaching the visitor, not just how the organization is structured and you know, that type of stuff. Because to me, as the visitor, I have no idea, right, as far as divisions of your company and or departments and things like that. That doesn't mean anything to me. What means to me is I want to know what you can do for me, right? What services do you have? What products do you have? Can you help me answer my questions?
And that's where we want to focus on really shareable content. You want to stay away from that sales content that a lot of businesses tend to want to put out because it is telling about their products and about what they do, but it's not what the user is always there for. That's when we look at figuring out ways that we can use infographics, or figuring out ways we can use just a webinar that really educates the audience instead of always pushing that sales-driven content.
Right.
So we're looking at a wide variety, a mix, and making it more educational focused instead of this is the product and you have to buy it.
Right, and here's why it's so great to buy it from us, and that,
Yep.
Great. And then I would guess, like, once you kind of get that down and you've identified your goals and objectives, you know who you're trying to reach, and you're trying to address those needs that you can answer. Beyond that, that's where kind of we can put together maybe an off page. I don't want to deal too much with this, but you could even start addressing the needs of those same target audiences, maybe needs that they have that aren't directly related to your business. So going to maybe the motorcycle rider, if I sell, you know, parts for motorcycles, maybe I want to start addressing, well, what other needs do motorcyclists have, or people who ride dirt bikes or ATVs? Well, maybe they need to know, you know, trail systems or weather conditions and certain things, and you could develop, you know, a certain part of your site or maybe a mobile app, and that gets into a much larger content strategy. But it's really core and fundamental to figure out your goals and objectives, figure out your target audience, and then answer questions that they've got, right? That's really the message.
That's the message, and understanding that all of those channels are part of your marketing mix. So you have to have a defined purpose for being on those channels. You don't just want to go out there and throw information out there. You really want to understand why your audience is there, what they are engaging with, and sometimes it's good to listen for a while before you start just posting content.
Yeah, that's great advice.
But just knowing that in today's time that it is part of your marketing mix, and you really have to have this type of strategy in order to maintain, be consistent, and have valuable information out there.
Right. Great. All right. Well, thanks, Kate.
You're welcome.
And again, if you're planning your own content out there, trying to decide what to write, make sure you know what your goals and objectives are, make sure you know who you're talking to, and then just try to answer their questions in as best and compelling way as you can. So thanks, Kate, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Mindscape TV. We hope you found this episode valuable, relevant, and interesting, that you'll like, comment, and share our videos, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Mindscape HM Please join us on Facebook and Twitter at Mindscape HM, or read our blog posts and join us online at mindscape-hm.com. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week.